Hey gorgeous, I am back today and today I'm doing part 2 of my mini series on YouTube on manifesting with God. So in part 1, we talked about decode and decide. We talked about your injured intuition and how that can keep you second guessing and not even really knowing what you truly desire. And of course, when we don't know what we truly desire, the world will tell us all kinds of things. Well, you should desire this and you should desire this. And then we may even manifest those things, but then feel unfulfilled because that's actually not what our soul's energetic blueprint said. So if you want more information on if you haven't seen part 1, I'll link it in the description box so you can watch that. The second part of that was the decide part, and that's where the homework happens. That's where the inner work happens. Because if you, the metaphysical part, and you, the physical part, do not agree, meaning that part says, yes, you can have this is what you want, and this part says, no, my limiting beliefs, my mom, my country, my culture, then you're just going to be waiting around in no man's land and you're not going to manifest what you really desire. So in order to be in part 2, in step 2, which is manifest, what this means is that you are literally bringing the non-form into form. That thing is already there in the metaphysical. Your metaphysical self sees it, agrees with it, desires it for you to have right here, right now on this physical plane. But your physical self, if it's still in step 1 and it hasn't completed the steps in like the necessary inner work, then it's not going to be that easy to manifest, right? Like we all know those people, and maybe we are those people that one-off like have a fluke and manifest something, but then we sabotage it or we can't repeat the process because we really didn't do the necessary inner work. So the reason that I can do act as if and assume the identity of and all of these various techniques that people use is because every single time I manifest something, I actually do the actual inner work. So then every time I have to do less and less and less of it, and I get better and better and faster of manifesting because I'm changing. My core beliefs are changing. My identity is literally changing with every manifestation. That's why it gets easier, and then you can quantum leap instead of doing the caterpillar, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. So if you haven't actually done those first steps, I would say go back to step number 1 and work through some of these things. I know a lot of manifestation teachers teach you to just bypass the inner work and you don't need it. Well, yeah, technically, if you didn't need to do the inner work and you could just manifest it, yes, you could do that. But the reason a lot of the teachers can say that is because they have done the inner work, or they're teaching you how to do those one-off manifestations, like manifesting a cup of coffee or something for free. But if you want to really hold the identity for bigger and better things in your life, like literally making an impact in society, in your soul's energetic blueprint, and really pushing the boundaries of what you're allowed to have, I personally recommend doing the inner work. This has been my formula, doing the inner work, so that at every level I have that foundation to fall back on. So in step 2, what happens is you're bringing into form something that is in non-form. So think of it as like that thing exists in a different currency, and you must bring it into the currency that you understand on this physical planet, which is a physical thing, right? The thing exists in the non-form. Anyone can have access to it who desires it. But for example, money, right? Technically, there's trillions and trillions of dollars being exchanged right now. Like right now in the world, there's trillions of dollars being exchanged. Transactions happening, wire transfers happening, purchases being made, deals happening, money just growing and transferring hands. It's there in the non-physical, right? But do you have it for yourself? Can you bring it and like literally have it to use in your life? What you're going to have to do for that is step number 1 first, decode and decide and do the inner work. And step number 2 is start bringing and translating that currency into physical form. How I do this is I say, okay, where in my life can I already start integrating this thing even though it's not completely physically shown up yet. So for example, if you were manifesting divine union, okay, rearranging your life to start acting and behaving like a married woman, making space in your closet, even if he wasn't going to live with you, just like energetically getting used to being in divine union, assuming the qualities, habits, behaviors of the married woman version of you would be you taking that metaphysical manifestation and bringing it down to actual reality, putting yourself in spaces where you are interacting with more married people and learning different things from them, and being in places that you would go and visit if you were already in divine union. All of this, if you did it without inner work, there would be parts of you that would be saying, no, I can't really have this. What am I even doing over here? This feels so awkward, right? Because you don't really believe you can have those things. Your inner work isn't there yet. The physical part of you isn't aligned with the metaphysical. But when you combine these two things, so when you combine the non-phys, like the inner work with like the bringing into the physical reality, it can be a game changer. So I'm going to give you another quick example from my life. So when we were living in the other house, which was an upgrade for us when we bought it 11 years ago, there was a timing in my life where I was like, okay, like this house is no longer my vibe, but I hadn't made the decision to manifest a bigger house, a better house at that point. So I hadn't decided, the idea hadn't come to me, but the feeling that this is not aligned anymore had shown up. So the next step for me was, okay, well, what do I get to have? Like, what is more aligned? And I started like journaling, writing those things down, starting to do the inner work, believing I could have it, believing it's not going to be a big deal, it's not going to be hard work. And the step after that was I started upgrading that house. We like had almost $100,000 of upgrades that we had put into that house. You guys remember chandeliers, right? Like all of this stuff. And so starting to bring from the metaphysical into the physical those elements of eventually living in a huge mansion that is my dream home, right? So in that step, that was the phase that I was in. It wasn't like, okay, well, I'm just gonna skip from that step to here. Like that wasn't at the level that I could manifest, but I could bring elements of my dream mansion into the house that I was currently in. I believe that upgrading that house and creating a view in that house out of like no view, that house had no view. I literally planted banana trees outside of every single window to give myself that illusion of having a view, and then manifested this gorgeous view from like literally every angle in the house. So that was me taking the metaphysical and bringing it into my current reality the best that I can. By the way, both times that I manifested a upgraded car was right after I started cleaning out the car that I was currently driving and like buying little things to upgrade the car as it was, and then I manifested the new car. So that was me bringing from the metaphysical into my actual physical reality remnants of what I'm about to manifest. Now, you might be thinking that some of the examples that I use are really large examples, and it seems like that I'm already manifesting to manifest the other thing, like the example of spending $100,000 on renovations to be able to then move up to manifesting this house. And that's exactly what I mean, that when you have been doing inner work with these manifestation principles, then it will compound like that, where you're going to start small with the cup of coffee or the freebies, and a lot of people get stuck in that stage because they are not doing inner work beyond that. And then as you get that foundation of inner work going, then the manifestations will kind of stack on top of each other. I purposely don't shy away from using my big numbers and my big manifestations, because there is so much content out there on manifesting free things, and nothing wrong with that. Everyone starts there, but I think there isn't enough on like stacking the blessings and being able to manifest on larger levels and So this is what is normal for me now, and I want to share my honest, authentic normal so that I can be an inspiration for other people and let them normalize this level of manifesting. Of course, there's levels beyond me as well, and that's why I intend on expanding and growing and keep manifesting on newer and newer levels. So in the manifest stage, your biggest challenge will be letting go of the how and the where, or the who. So letting go of those W's. It can be really hard for some people because of my core belief. And again, it goes back to those core beliefs, which we are resetting in step number 1. My core belief is that if God wants me to have it, it doesn't matter where it comes from, right? Like the universe will find the least resistance source pathway to get it for me. I've used this example before and I'll use it again. A lot of things that I have manifested, or the channels that I have manifested through, literally did not exist when the desire showed up. So how fruitless would it have been for me to sit there and trying to figure out the how when that thing literally wasn't invented yet? It was invented as a basis of my desire, right? So God said, okay, she wants this, so let's reroute this, let's invent this, let's do this, and let's get it to her. So that's why I don't waste a lot of time in how. I also don't waste a lot of time in who, because who? God, right? Source, right? Like I don't make people my God and say, he has to give it to me, she has to give it to me, it has to come through my job. No, says who. It can come to me in any way. And when you really want something, again, this goes back to step number 1. When you really want something, you don't really care how it comes. You start getting into these kind of things of like who is going to give it to you and how it's going to come when you really don't want it, meaning the metaphysical you wants it, but the physical you still has limiting beliefs and is trying to find excuses to actually keep you away from it because of some preconceived fear or limiting belief or something, that there's going to be a price to pay, you'll lose something, it's going to be too hard, it's going to come at some kind of a cost. So anytime those things are popping up, that's just an example of, okay, need to go back in step number 1 and do a little bit more of that inner work. And I know some people don't want to do inner work with manifesting because it's too much work, or, you know, it should be easy and blah, blah, blah. But remember that this is compounding for you. So all the inner work that I did in my baby stages of inner work, or baby stages of manifesting, help me now because I no longer have to do that inner work. It's already changed me. It's already transformed my identity. It's already is the basis of my core beliefs. So I don't have to keep going back and redoing that inner work. Now let's give the example of someone who doesn't do inner work and just randomly manifest. Then there's always going to be a cap or a level at which they can manifest. The biggest one I see is people who get stuck in manifesting in free. So meaning they can manifest something, but it has to come through someone else. Someone has to gift it to them. Someone has to bring it to them. And that's so much fun. I get it. It's fun receiving that way. But I feel like your growth is stunted if you're literally in like the toddler state of manifesting forever because, you know, mommy and daddy or some figure that is mommy and daddy has to keep giving you things, and you can't really manifest it in different, more expansive ways. And there is a level where there's a point on every level where you want to drop that one and get to the next level, because that's what's going to bring you that fulfillment, that happiness, that like that real joy that comes from personal growth and continuously upgrading our identity and who we get to be and who we get to experience on this planet. So if you are in the baby stages or toddler stages of like manifesting free, enjoy it, have fun with it, but know that at some point you're going to evolve into more older versions of manifesting and manifesting powers where you can now have things for yourself. Okay, so now you can manifest some money, in fact, and you can make different levels of decisions, and you get to have investments, and you get to have passive income. All of these things, if they are your desires, I say allow those things to be your desires and not where it's like someone else always has control of your manifestations, that they always have to come through someone else, okay? I know when you're evolving out of it, because I will get people on coaching calls or in group coaching programs asking questions where it seems like the person who was giving them their manifestations either doesn't want to or isn't providing them in the way that you want, and it becomes this like really painful process. And that's when I will tell my students and my clients, hey, you are making this person your God, and you've made them your source, and that's where that friction and that resistance is coming from. And now it's time to evolve into thinking of manifesting on a bigger level, so that one person is never your source. Okay, so that is the manifest technique. And if you guys want to learn more, I have 2 offers for you. Offer number 1 is this is going to be for beginner level or like medium level manifesting manifesting inner work, and it's called my Manifesting Babes. It's called $1 Million Manifesting Babes, and it's 12 different workshops with workbooks and homework and techniques and things that you can do. Lots of content in there, and currently it's on flash sale for $111 off. So you can, if you're a newbie to manifesting or newbie with manifesting with me, I would say that's a great place to start. If you are a advanced level manifester and you want to go deeper, you want a quantum leap, you want a wormhole, I highly recommend my Manifest course. It is the most potent work that I've ever taught and practiced in my life around manifestation. It is truly next level. So if you're ready for that, I will link both of those in the description box for you. So here is step number 1 and 2 now you have, and then I have one more step, step number 3, which is normalizing. And that is the most important part, I would say, because that is literally compounding. And then if you normalize, then you can build on existing manifestations to manifest even faster. Spoiler alert, so I will tell you guys more about that in the next training. That's it for today. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.